y'all. It's crazy. Like, so I've been meditating for a while, right? I mean, not consistently, but off and on consistently now for probably like 7 or 8 years. And I'm very familiar with the concept that we are separate from our thoughts, that we should not identify with our thoughts, that's a mistake, that, you know, it'd be like identifying with your hand. Like, yes, the hand is part of you, the thoughts are part of your experience, a part of your conscious experience, but you are not them. And I'm also familiar with the concept, you know, I've heard many teachers say over the years, like, hey, you're just an observer. You're not even Dayton. Like, you're just somebody who's perceiving Dayton's experience, and you're kind of lost in that right now. And like, I kind of like integrated that somewhat, where I understood the concept, and so I thought I understood it. And I've had experiences that kind of bring that separation to me, where, like, you know, I've been through something horrible, or, you know, there's something scary going on inside my head, and I realize that something scary is going on inside my head. I'm like, well, if it's scaring me, then it clearly isn't me. Why wouldn't I be scared? Does that make sense? Like, there's something that's observing that in order to have a reaction to it. But I watched this video on Pain Body the other day, talking about how our conscious energy gets tied up into these thought forms that almost take on like a life and a personality of their own. And it's that same, like, personality or voice or whatever you want to call it, thought that comes into your head that has the same sort of tone about certain things all the time. Like, if you're one of those people that, like, whenever you try a certain thing, it's like, you can't do that. Of course you can. Why are you trying to do that? You won't make that. You're gonna fail. You can't do that. Whatever, right? And I always just thought of them as negative thoughts. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's just a negative thought. Just let it go, whatever, right? But I was having an experience over the last few weeks where I was having this, like, really strong, visceral experience of like, it was like that negative tone thing was there all the time, and it was like, you're a horrible person, you're just a terrible person, and you're just gonna hurt people. Why do you even get close to them? You're just gonna hurt them, and you shouldn't even let people get close to you. You shouldn't even let people know you, because you're just gonna hurt them. And if you don't hurt them emotionally, then maybe your emotions will overtake you and you'll hurt them physically, because you don't know how to handle your emotions. And it was just constantly like this, bro. Like, it was wearing me down, and it was heavy on my soul. Like, I was struggling. I was struggling at work. I was struggling at home. I was struggling with my friends. But then I watched this video. I watched this video on YouTube. And she basically was describing, in her own view and words, Eckhart Tolle's theory and view on pain body. how our conscious energy gets trapped in our trauma. So we have a trauma, and a trauma creates a belief, right? And that belief corresponds to a thought pattern. But the more that we feed into that thought pattern, the more of our conscious energy, which is supposed to go from like, here to here to here and out and boom, and then it blooms this beautiful flower and we live our life. It goes here to here, which is the mind. And then as soon as we have that negative thought pattern, it diverts into this trauma body, into this body of pain. And it just starts closed loop circuiting itself over and over and over and over again. So it's like conscious energy here coming in from life source, whatever it is itself, into the mind. The mind has this reaction of like negative thought. Boom, suddenly this pattern, which is supposed to go this way, goes this way and gets diverted into the pain body. And as this pain body grows and becomes its own entity in a way, like it develops a personality of its own. It is the victim. It's the constant victim that's just there with you constantly, and it's constantly reminding you that you're the victim. And that's what I was experiencing. I was fully possessed by this pain body. This pain body was infiltrating my consciousness in order to get more energy. And it comes down to trauma because it starts as a protection mechanism, right? It's like, it's the ego in a way. It's like, oh, I need to protect you from this thing that happened that hurt you. So we need to make sure that never happens again. And how do we make sure that never happens again? Well, we can try and scare you away from it. But it gets away from us. It gets away from us, and it becomes its own thing. And it's funny, like I literally, I was feeling this energy creep up after I had watched this video and I kind of digested what she had said. And it made a lot of sense to me. And I was at work. I was at work actually. And I was feeling this energy come up, and I was talking to some guests, and suddenly there was this distinct negative thought entity in my head that was literally like, you're such a bad fucking person. Like, why don't you just hurry up and hurt them, because you're gonna hurt them, everybody you talk to eventually anyways. And instead of just being like, I have to ignore that, or just being like, oh, it's just a thought, blah, 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 whatever, I literally was like, you know what? Too much thinky. And I just kept repeating that to myself, like every time it came into my head, I was like, too much thinky. And I broke the loop. Because the energy was used to coming here, and then boom, it gets stuck in this loop, and it gets stuck, and it gets diverted. But as soon as that negative feeling comes in, I'm just like, too much thinky. Boom, it just keeps going this way. And instantly, the heavy feeling, the weight, everything that was on my soul just gone. And then 2 hours later, it would try to crop up again, and boom, too much thinky, bro. Literally, I was breaking that cycle that was right here, that was coming down and diverting into this separate thing that's just filled with my pain and my trauma. And that's not to say that it just disappears, but it does in a way, because it's only there as long as you feed it. As long as you feed it, it's like, oh, you need me still. You're still hurt. You're still a victim. You're still in pain. You need me because I'm the one keeping you, protecting you from getting hurt again. But actually, you're causing me so much pain and trauma and turmoil that's just building, and God knows what else. And the power in breaking that circuit it's just insane. And once you do it, you realize that it can be anything. Your nervous system starts to feel overwhelmed, which mine was feeling a lot, and you start to feel worried about that. But the second you start to feel worried about that, you say, too much thinking. breaks the cycle, and you just keep going. And eventually, like within like 10, 15 seconds, that feeling of overwhelm, that feeling of overstimulation is just gone. You feel your heart drop. You feel like somebody's hurting you. You feel like you're being betrayed. All of these things, which are perceptions based off of expectations, based off of prior experiences, based not fully in reality because they're assumptions. Even if they're true, for the most part, it's you making an assumption. And even if it's true, it doesn't make you feel better, right? So the second that you feel it, too much thinky, bro, boom, it's gone. Even when you start to doubt it, like, it's the same thing. It's like, sometimes the thought will come to my head, be like, there's no way that this too much thinky thing really works. It doesn't really work. You're just making it up. I'm like, no, too much thinky, and boom, it's gone again, bro. You can stop the overthinking about the overthinking by just being like, oh, too much thinking, bro. And then you start to doubt and be like, oh, too much thinking. Too much thinking. I don't want, and you don't have to be like, oh, but if I don't think about it, I'm not going to understand. Dude, all you're doing is just diverting your energy into the pain body. You don't need to do that. You do not need to do that. You can just let the energy go this way. You don't have to divert it into the pain body. You can let it just come through you, flow, and that's okay. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to. You honestly don't. You ever notice that the stupidest people you know are the happiest people you've ever met? I really believe it's because it's no other reason than they're not feeding their pain body constantly. They're not falling into the trap. And then once you get good enough at this, then you can come back to the mind as a true tool and actually use it and not be used by it, because that's what's happening right now. For most people, it was for me and for a lot of people that I know. Yeah, so that's my TED Talk today. If I learn more, I will update you guys on this journey, but that's all for now. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. If you feel like a lot's coming on, just start thinking about it. You have the free will to do so. It is your choice. The second that you start choosing freedom for yourself, literally just stop thinking about it. It is that easy.